The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power in the creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week, and it is a pleasure to be back, viewers and listeners. I am so happy to be on this microphone again, to be on this continent again. I have returned from my trip to China, seeing my in-laws, having a wonderful time, but very happy to be back in my own home, sleeping in my own bed, and talking on this microphone to all of you. I've missed Break the Business, but I am happy to know that in my absence, the show did not falter. It did not take a step back. Instead, it was very capably hosted by the elite podcaster that is Zach Sloan, Break the Business co-host. All indications was that he did a wonderful job. The clips that I saw bear that out. I haven't actually had a chance to see the full episodes because, as you might know, in China, their treatment of YouTube as a website to visit is a little restrictive. There's a great firewall, as they call it, which did not allow me to watch the Break the Business episodes. But what I did see of the shows was great. Zach was wonderful. The guests were fantastic. And so I am happy that everything was smooth while I was gone, but it's good to be back. Those of you who are watching the show as a live stream are probably getting a slightly different visual experience than what you're used to, in that you are looking at your host for the first time in his life on this show having a bald head. While I was in China, I have shaved the dome clean. It is a bald head. I have a beard now, so it's like that old Wooly Willy toy. I took all the hair on the top and I moved it down to the beard. And, it's people are asking, why'd you do it? And the answer is, I'm a man who's accepting his limitations. All right. This was going to happen whether I liked it or not. It was very much heading in that direction, basically since I was about 26 years old. And we just finally said, you know what? We're accepting defeat honorably here. I'm tired of the comb overs, of like moving the hair around. Oh, maybe if I like slick it back, it'll cover the bald spot. I'm not fooling anybody. And so we're just going to go ahead and steer right into the skid, shave the whole damn thing off. And now I'm just another bald podcaster, and I'm embracing it. I enjoy it, although my head is kind of cold right now. This is going to be a great show. I am stoked for what we got to talk about this week. And I'm stoked for our guest. Joining us this week, I'd say one of our all-time favorite Break the Business guests ever. Every time they come on, it is a blast. Bill Bolden's going to be joining us talking about their new album, Radical Honesty. Here's what I like about Bill Bolden showing up, or as you might know them in the industry, Down Upright. That is our guest's artist name. A lot of things I enjoy about a Bill Bolden appearance here on Break the Business. One, you're going to get some really great advice. Bill is very knowledgeable about the industry, has great tips for indie artists, has been doing it for a long time and doing it really well and doing it in a really innovative fashion. Bill doesn't do regular music projects. All the projects are super ambitious. They have lots of collaborators. They do cool Kickstarter campaigns sometimes. And so you can learn a lot from this person's expertise. So you got that to look forward to. Two, Bill has a great body of work that we just talked about, right? An extensive catalog, and each song, each album is different, has a completely different vibe. And so you get all of that experience in the interview. The third thing you get with a Bill Bolden interview that I really think caps it all off is, in addition to being an accomplished electro-pop artist and producer and DJ, Bill is also a terrific entrepreneur. Bill advises startups both in the entertainment industry and outside of the entertainment industry, works with groups like Techstars, works with a lot of founders to bring companies to life. And so as an entrepreneur, Bill can bring some advice to this show. So Bill can give you advice both as a creative and as an entrepreneur and is equally capable at both. And so every time Bill Bolden graces us with their presence, which Bill always does when Bill has an album out, which happens all the time because Bill churns out a ton of content, we are better off for the experience. So excited for that in the next segment. And frankly, I might just decide to bring them in earlier because, again, love talking to Bill. But in the meantime, we have another equally wonderful person to talk to. Producer Lauren, how are you? I missed you. How is everything?
I missed you too, Ryan. Though you had me watch your house, so I just decided to take over while you were gone.
And you did. I came back. Yes. Producer Lauren was house sitting for me while I was in China. And kind of made me feel like crap, to be honest, because I've been living in this house for about a year now. And you did more decorating of my house in a weekend than I have done in 11 and a half months. The house looks wonderful. Whereas when my wife and I were living in it, it looked exactly the way it did when we bought it. I don't even think we put a new coat of paint on the walls. And you decorated
I did patch your holes, and you can still see the patches. Like, I love that.
We're like, I'm not a DIY person. All right. I don't walk into a Home Depot and all the employees are like, Ryan's here. That's not me. But thankfully, that's you. You love making houses beautiful, and bless you for decorating my house a bit while I was gone. Mwah.
I warned you. I was like, if you leave me alone in your house, you don't know what you're coming home to. And your response was like, I'm so excited to see it. Not like,
yeah, no.
Don't mess with my stuff.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not possessive. I have no pride of authorship in the way my house looks. If you want to make it pretty, I'm not going to micromanage you. I'm not going to look that particular gift horse in the mouth. You do whatever you want to do to my house, because it's going to be a step up from what I've done to my house, which is nothing.
I plan to, yes.
And again, even if you had wrecked my house, which of course you would not have done because you're too damn creative for that, I still would have been happy to be home because it is, after spending 2.5 weeks in China, it is, and again,
wrangling a toddler.
Yeah. With a 3-year-old, by the way.
Yeah.
And traveling to a bunch of different cities, flying on a bunch of different airplanes. Even though China was wonderful, I'm happy to be back home. And so being in my own house again is wonderful. But the trip, China, was incredible for a lot of different reasons. And, I'm currently fighting through just the worst jet lag of my life right now. I mean,
only
at any
12
point,
hours.
12 hours, like that's like the worst possible jet lag. I was on the exact opposite of the world.
Yeah.
At any moment, I might just like pass out on this microphone like a narcoleptic person. And if that happens, you just keep running the show with Bill. Bring Bill in, you guys talk, and just, assume that I'm not dead.
You can sleep podcast just like your son was sleep eating,
Oh God, that was so funny. So I do want to talk about one part of my experience in China, Lauren, that it is actually germane to the topic of this show, which is the music industry. While I was in China, I had the opportunity with my wife to check out a concert. So my wife Chi-Ying's favorite artist is a Singaporean pop artist named Sun Yanzi, or they call her Stephanie Sun in the West. And Chi-Ying has loved Stephanie Sun's music basically since the first album came out. Like, she is a diehard fan. And even though Chi-Ying was a diehard fan, has never had the opportunity to see Stephanie Sun in concert because Stephanie Sun has never come to the US, at least not recently.
Okay.
And even rarely tours in China at this point anymore. But Stephanie Sun's on tour now, and it just so happened that her stop in Qingdao on the mainland was going to line up with our trip to China. So we took a quick flight over to Qingdao for the weekend and got to watch the Stephanie Sun concert. It was a transcendent experience for Chi-Ying, who is, she's wanted to see this artist her whole life. And so we got to watch her, and she was wonderful. Such a great artist.
How long has this artist been around? This is like, what's the equivalent in America? Like you said, since she was a kid, like this is not a
2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been 20 years into it, I'd say.
Kind of like going to see the Backstreet Boys, or like It's not like
maybe-
going to see Sonny and Cher. Like we gotta go.
it'd be like going to see Pink in concert. If you're looking for like number of years
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, this isn't a Madonna concert. This isn't a. I don't know who else was. I'm thinking of Vegas tours now. I'm like, all
I was
right,
about to
who's
say-
going to-
But what I thought was most interesting about the concert, because I mean, it was a 30,000 seat stadium. I definitely had to have been the only American there. And so I was sort of, in addition to enjoying the concert, I was sort of almost just observed, like I was there as like a cultural observer, just like seeing how things are in China. And one of the things that I sort of identified about the Chinese concert going experience and how different it is from seeing a concert in America is the way that the crowd comports itself. So in America, you go to a concert like that in a big stadium, and what are you doing the whole time? Screaming at the top of your lungs. You know, you buy the seat, but you don't use the seat, right? You are standing up, you're shouting the whole time. You know, you are obstructing the view of the people behind you.
if they want to sit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you are shouting the lyrics of every single word to every single song. And that's the way we do concerts in America and probably in the West. Now, contrast that with, this concert I went to in China. Everybody was, even though like it was a very devoted fan base that loved Stephanie Sun and, was very pleased with Stephanie Sun's performance, during the songs, they were mostly sitting politely.
And listening.
Some people were recording on their phones, but it was very polite. Nobody was standing up, obstructing anybody's view. And notably, nobody was screaming. And
Not
then
between songs or at the end.
well, that's what makes it interesting, right? So I'm like looking around, like, wow, why isn't everybody going nuts right now? And then Stephanie Sun finishes the song, and everybody just goes, and I'm going to do my impression of the entire 30,000 people in the stadium. All right, okay. Stephanie Sun finishes the song, yeah. Like, just the song's over, 6 seconds of just like them letting out all of the happiness that they have of that performance. Wow. And then they just stop on a dime.
Because it's time for the next song. And we want to hear the intro. We're not missing the intro.
And like, look, was it a little jarring for an American concert goer like me? Yes. But after about 15 minutes of this, did I love this as a concert going concept? Absolutely. I'm damn near 40 years old. I can't stand through a whole concert anymore. I can't like shout every lyric to every song and then have laryngitis for a week. I mean, that was a very comfortable, pleasant concert going experience. I think we could learn some things from the way that China does concerts.
I definitely have sat through concerts and thought to myself, I would like to hear the person who I paid to hear and not you, because you'll have somebody sitting next to you shouting at the top of their lungs what you came to listen to. And I wanted to listen to that singer and not you going, so I'm like, enjoy that drink and swallow instead of singing. Unless, of course, the performer is intentionally doing like a callback, hold the mic out to the audience and let's all sing this line together. That's kind of one thing. But if from the beginning of the concert to the end of the concert, you're shouting over the performer, you're kind of messing it up for the rest of the audience. Like,
yeah. Oh, no, I agree. Like, I think that format, for lack of a better word, is a much more enjoyable concert experience, especially for old farts like me. I can imagine, though, that kind of concert going experience is probably a little jarring for the performer. Like, imagine a Western artist performing in China for the first time, and you're playing your song, and everybody's dead silent in the crowd, and you're like, oh my God, I'm bombing. This is a disaster. I flew my whole band 7,000 miles for this, and we are getting nothing from this crowd. And then all of a sudden you finish the song and everybody goes nuts and then immediately stops.
Yeah, but okay, coming from a theater background, like you can feel an audience. If you're a pro and if they are hooked into you, they don't have to be shouting for you as a performer to know you've got them.
That's
That
fair.
you're like holding on to them, and you can feel that if they go silent and they're like looking around or going down, but if they can't take their eyes off of you and they can't stop listening, you can feel that. And then when that, and in theory, you're welcomed onto the stage with like a woo, so you're not like walking out into dead silence until you prove yourself.
Sure.
That might be hard. That would be rough. Let's see if they want to clap.
That's I mean no and the crowd was absolutely interested, right? You could like they to your point, they certainly weren't aloof, right? They were drawn in. They all eyes on Stephanie's son who was holding court, and people were really happy to see her there. And what a wonderful show. And was so happy for like my wife to be able to like have this bucket list moment because she's always wanted to see this artist. And do I wish that I didn't have to fly 19 hours on a plane to make this happen for her? Yeah, it would have been nice if they, if Stephanie's son came to Fort Lauderdale, but we'll go where we need to go for that really cool experience.
That wasn't even, they happened to be in the town you were in China. Like you took another plane to fly somewhere else to be able to go.
It literally took 4 airplanes.
Neruda just wrote in that he thinks that the people should get a separate shout room. I assume they mean the Westerners. Like, look, it's like in church, they have the back room for the cry room. It's like, all right, you Americans, if you come, you've got to go sit in the shout room because you're messing it up for all of us.
Don't ruin this vibe, Westerner. I like that. That you know what? I think there's an opportunity there. We could talk to some of the venues in China about that. But I want to know now that I've shared a little bit about my China experience, since I did not get a chance to like really get to watch any of these Break the Business podcasts while I was gone because of the damn firewall on the internet over there. How did Zach do? How did you guys manage?
Zach was amazing. I was not.
Come on.
I was kind of happy. You were like, oh yeah, the clips I saw. I'm like, oh yeah, we can pull clips. Clips are great. Clips are the best.
You're very strategic about the clips I got.
Man, the first episode goes on. We push like play, and my entire system lost audio. So like we're like, all right, and here's the show, and there's no music. The video's playing. There's no sound. Zach's like, what's happening? I'm like, I don't know. So like that, we were off to a great start. As soon as Ryan leaves, the whole show just stops. But that being said, we got through it. The shows happened. Starting with the music that you have been playing around making on Sonos just because you thought it was a fun game. I was not playing said game, and Zach starts and he's like, here's the song.
So
Cricket.
We didn't have intro songs for the guests, and Zach was waiting for the intro song to come. And
yeah, well, he waited for the intro song at the beginning of the show. He waited for the intro song for the guest. I just failed him miserably show one. Poor Zach was like, he handled it like a pro. Man, it's just like when we pulled the video down because the audio wasn't in it, like Zach was just like sitting on the screen and he was like, I'm gonna go. And I was like, yeah, you are, Zach. In our backstage room, I just had to side note here. Yeah. Bill is waiting to come on, but Bill does not know what a cry room is.
Really?
They did not grow up Catholic.
Yeah, that's what that's telling me.
Church. This is going to be a terrible way to state this. I apologize ahead of time to anyone who feels differently.
Lauren's about to offend organized religion in 3, 2,
1. All right. So churches used to be a place where like the whole family came together and we celebrated the community as a community. And over time, we decided that crying babies were annoying us and getting in the way of us being able to hear the gospel. So we decided to put them in a cage. So we put these lovely glass boxes in the back of the church so that people with babies can go in through a separate door and stay in the quiet room so we don't have to hear their babies cry. Because God doesn't like hearing babies cry.
Well, I mean, I don't. I think that the Catholic Church just needs to take a lesson from a Stephanie Sun concert. Don't let the babies cry through the whole service. Instead, in between homilies, have 6 seconds of just letting all the babies scream as loud as they want, and then they stop, and we go to the next song.
We go to the next song.
Amen.
I think, honestly, like we talk about when it happened anyway, like when they started building these rooms, that it was because other people were annoyed by the babies crying. But anybody who's actually like taking care of a baby crying in a public space knows that it was far more for the parents who felt embarrassed and were not enjoying church because they spent the entire sermon going like, shh, stop, you're embarrassing me.
Yeah.
And so like they were happy to have a room where they were like, all right, nobody's looking at me sideways. I'm in. I will donate a lot of money to build me a quiet room.
Exactly.
And a nursing station. Yeah.
Oh, that's important innovation in organized religion
in.
as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the hell we were talking about. Yeah, I think you were just trying to go off on a tangent to
not talk about how
to not talk
terribly I
about
did while you
whatever
were gone.
happened
That
while
is
I was gone.
Exactly what I was doing. It was wonderful.
Fair enough. And I think the perhaps the worst part about it for you is that Zach Sloan is so unfailingly nice that he's never going to call you out on it.
No, he was like, oh, it was fine. What are you talking about? It was great. I was like, okay, look, we can take little flubs and get away with it. But like when we straight up have no intro,
Yeah.
you can't not call me out on that
Like-
one. Like that's a call me out on it.
Zach's like, it was a top 5 show, Lauren. Lauren's like, the studio's on fire.
Studio's on fire. That being said, by the time we were done, I had lost my mind. I'm pretty sure I was in a blonde wig as an ultra persona last week.
I have to go back and watch this.
It's been an interesting time for sure.
Well, either way, good to be back. But okay, so before we bring in Bill, I have a news story, but I think I'm going to save it for when we interview Bill to get their perspective on it. But what I do have for you, Lauren, is a listener question that has come in.
I love it when they ask questions.
Well, they always get a chance. The listener mailbag always has a way of building up when you've been out of the country for 3 weeks. Our listener question is as follows. Ryan, I started to make music with another artist. I want to set up an agreement that would lay out how we operate, how much money we split, how do we own the music, things like that. When I brought this up with him, he said that we haven't even started making music or money yet, and we can hold off for a bit on a contract. Is he right? So what you are talking about, question asker, is what we would informally call a band agreement in this industry, right? It used to be like when a group of 4 people got together and formed a band. Lawyers like me would always recommend that those band members would sit down and all sign a contract that dictates how things are going to work, right? Everything from when are rehearsals, but more importantly, things like when you make a song as a band, when you make a track as a band, how is that track owned? Does one person own it? Are you guys going to own a company together that owns the track? Does somebody own more or less than it? How about publishing, right? When you write a song as a band, how much does each band member own? Are some of the band members songwriters and some of them not?
Is it song by song or is it a standard, right?
Exactly. Or things just like, what if, God forbid, the band breaks up? Who owns the name of that band? Who gets to take that name on them as they go? Are you allowed to do side projects? Can those side projects take priority over band projects? These are all things that need to be figured out by a band. Bands so rarely skip the process of figuring these things out, and then they become problems later when you don't have something written down that everybody agrees to. And so when this question asker says, look, I brought all this stuff up with my collaboration partner who said, hey, man, we haven't even written a song yet. We haven't even started doing stuff yet. It's too early to do the contract. What a lawyer like me would say is, no, now's the time to do the contract.
Yeah.
Like, you do the contract before the money shows up, before the content shows up, because once the money shows up, everything gets more complicated. Once you start making the music, everything becomes more complicated. It will never be more simpler or more easier to put the contract together than when you're starting at zero. Now, if you have literally nothing going on, if your band is just, if you're just the two of you are in a garage and you think you're at least like a year away from your first gig, okay, maybe like holding off for a bit so you don't seem like a weirdo bringing in a contract for nothing. But maybe then
I'm arguing like at that point, what difference does it make? Like
Right.
if you're going to sit down with your friend and say, hey, look, I'd love to get in a band with you. Let's do this together. Everything we do, we're going to split 50-50. All right. Like that takes so little effort, or like, hey, each song, let's discuss this. And it saves, you've always said to me, the paperwork is supposed to help avoid problems, not create them.
Yes.
If somebody is coming to you as a bandmate and saying, before we have anything on the table, I'd love to discuss with you how you see this going and how we see this breaking down, because I'd love to be on the same page before we get started. I would want to be in a band with that person. I wouldn't be like, oh man, we're not even ready for that. I'd be like, are you going to do all of our paperwork as a band? Because I'm thinking the first thing in our agreement is you're on top of making sure we do all paperwork, because this is the band member who's dotting I's and crossing T's. That's the first thing in my agreement. Yeah.
Every good band needs a paperwork nerd. It is the most important instrument in the band, the paperwork.
Dude, and if you have the guy who's like coming in and saying, hey, bandmates, I'd love to get this paperwork. I don't want to have the bandmate who says, dude, it's too early. I would look at him and say, look, if you want to be in the band with me, I will take care of the paperwork, but you got to trust me and we got to put stuff down. And I'd be like, yes.
And to that point about actually literally putting stuff down, right? I often will get clients who say, look, my bandmate and I, like, we know what we've agreed to. We've talked about it. We're splitting things 50-50. We don't need to write it down. Like, we have it agreed to.
Right.
And it's just always amazing to me how people's memories get fuzzy the moment money shows up, or the moment one particular song of the catalog becomes a hit. And suddenly you say, yeah, but I wrote 90% of that song when you had previously agreed to split everything 50-50. Yeah. And so it's always good to have things written down. The example I give to my law students is I talk about the game of Monopoly. And, as my example of why written contracts are important, because I'll always poll the class and I say, y'all play Monopoly, right? And thankfully the Gen Zers are still playing Monopoly. Monopoly is still a thing. I always say to them, what happens when you land on free parking? And about half the class says nothing. It's free. Nothing happens. And then there's a contingent of the class that says you get $500, right? You put a $500 bill in the middle of the board, and whoever lands on free parking gets the $500. And then there's also a group that says, well, no, and what you're supposed to do is all the money that like gets paid from like luxury tax, electric company, it goes in the middle of the board, and then it's a big pot, and then whoever lands on free parking gets the pot. And everybody is sure that their rules are right. And so when you go play Monopoly at somebody else's house and you land on free parking and then you reach into the bank and grab a $500 bill, now you've started an argument. And if only there was some written document somewhere that laid out clearly what you're supposed to do when you land on free parking. That's what a contract is. A contract is the rules of the board game that is your business deal. And so written contracts don't complicate things. They simplify things. They don't start arguments. They end arguments. And so, and by the way, for all you Monopoly people
they
out there,
avoid arguments.
They avoid arguments from happening in the first place. And for the Monopoly fans out there, you should know nothing happens when you land on free parking. All you people putting $500 in the middle of the board, you're not playing it right. And I know that because I actually read written documents.
But now they have all these, like, even in the official rules, there's house rules where like, they're like, here are the alternative ways that people have played so much that we've actually added them into the rule book.
It's outrageous.
That just confuses me. It just throws me off, But I guess that by that standard, just because you write a contract at the beginning of your band's agreement doesn't mean you can't alter it later.
Yeah, absolutely right. And most likely you will. A contract can't possibly contemplate all the future contingencies that are going to happen with your band. And so you should always think of a contract as a living document, but it's going to be one that you will all agree to change together when it comes time to change.
Who put that in too? How do we agree on changes?
Yeah.
Or how do we approach them? Yeah.
And
all these
normally
things are-
what you would certainly want to put in there is that, just as the contract itself is in writing, you also want to agree that all changes have to be in writing and signed by everybody. Because you don't want somebody to say, hey, yeah, I know we have this written contract, but you and I agreed to change this orally. No. You want it in the contract saying if we agree to change something, we have to agree in writing so that we have written proof of the change.
That's right. It's worth the paper it's written on.
Well said. Okay.
I didn't come up with that. I don't know who did, but it wasn't me.
So here's my plan. We're going to take a 2-minute break here. I am going to use these 2 minutes to take the quickest jet lag cat nap. And then hopefully I'll wake myself back up and we'll have our interview with Bill down upright boulder that I'm very excited about. God, I'm so tired. We're going to make it through, everybody. Hang in there. Keep checking out Break the Business. Break the Business is presented in cooperation with Ryan A. Kairalla, PA. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA is a law firm providing transactional entertainment legal services, including contracts, business formation, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida. rkpalaw.com.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to Break the Business, everybody. Ryan Kairalla here with producer Lauren. Gosh, I'm just so overjoyed to be back in this country again, in this continent again, sharing this podcast with all of you. I missed you guys terribly.
I just want to let you know that the listeners think I was amazing.
Boy, you're just mining like the instruction I've always given is like, find the comments from the viewers that move the conversation forward, that have insightful comments. You're just mining the comments, looking for compliments that you can display on the screen. We all know producer Lauren is amazing. All right. It is implied by everything that she does. Okay. Like she's a wonderful
I
producer.
needed the boost after the going away spiel I was giving.
I mean,
my focus was gone, not because, no offense, I love you dearly, but not because you were gone, but you took my baby out of the country and like my brain was gone. I was like, Nathan's not here.
Well, yes, I did take the son to China. Although you've had a nice couple days with him, which has been very cool.
I couldn't leave. You guys came back and Dad's like, "You're coming home?" And I was like, Nathan's back. He's mine.
Well, I can tell you at this moment, because we just put him to bed. He misses you too, because ever since you left to go back to your house after playing with Nathan, he has just done nothing but like cry and be sad. So you're the favorite aunt. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let us go ahead, producer Lauren, and bring in our guest this week.
Hey, down upright. I don't think they're ready for this. Now, what I'm gonna hear everybody to do is head on to the dance floor. Let's get it.
Blue and pink, the colors flipped, make us think. We go off script. I don't got
Our guest this week. It's always a good time when our next guest joins us. They are a Buffalo-based electro-pop artist and entrepreneur. Their latest project is Radical Honesty, an album released in July that Substream Magazine called so incredibly fresh, so deliciously invigorating. Radical Honesty is available now, and you can find out more about our guest's work by visiting downupright.bluesky.social. We are always happy to welcome back Bill Down Upright Bolden on to Break the Business. Hi, Bill.
Hello.
Hey, Bill.
Hello. I want to say in front of the viewers that this is my first glimpse at hair moved Ryan, and I'm in love with
Ryan.
it. I was hanging out with Ryan in real life in Memphis like 6 weeks ago. And no, I guess more like 8 weeks ago. And is not he left in one form and came back in another. I don't know what to say.
I mean, we all wish we could have like dazzling pink hair like you do, Bill, but the rest of us is just genetically not in the cards.
I am holding on for dear life. I don't always look it, but I am 40. I'll be 41 soon. And oh yeah, well, thank you. Making the most of it till time rips it away from me, kicking and screaming.
Ryan's joining us in his 40s next month. I'm just saying.
Yes, indeed.
He's like, don't tell people that.
I know. Trying to maintain some mystique here. So here's where my head's at, Bill. I do want to talk to you all about Radical Honesty because I think this is a phenomenal album. I've enjoyed very much listening to it, and just not just the work that you do on it, but all the terrific collaborators you brought in on the project. That's always been one of your gifts, I think, as a creator, is like finding ways to work with all these amazing artists and bring out the best in them and have them bring out the best in you. But I also want to take advantage of your entrepreneurial and business background because that has so much value for this program. And so I'm going to be really unfair right now. And I want to talk to you about a story that you had no chance to prep on because I'm bringing this up to you right now.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. F it, as Bill O'Reilly would say. But I think this was an interesting article. So I read a recent article in Digiday that stated that 2025 is poised to be a record year for creator economy M&A transactions. For the first time, we are seeing a massive spike in hedge funds, private equity funds wanting to buy heavy stakes in creator economy platforms and influencer management platforms and things like that. Notable deals include a $175 million acquisition of the influencer marketing platform Captivate by Publicis and a $100 million purchase of a majority stake in the video sharing platform Uscreen by private equity firm PSG. And so to me, these deals kind of show two things to me. One is like a positive thing. One's like a scary negative thing. One is that these deals would seem to show that investment firms are acknowledging that there is a value in creator tech and creator economy, and investing in creators is a positive thing. And that a lot of these companies want to work with influencers and other creative professionals and see the value there. And I like all of that. That sounds great for the people I care about in this industry. Here's the thing that scares me. I've made no secret of the fact that I'm not a fan of private equity as a franchise, mainly because they seem to just exist to take mature companies that don't seem to have much more growth potential, but are doing just fine and are profitable as a business, leveraging the crap out of them, extracting value, and then stripping them for parts. And now we don't have Toys R Us anymore. Thanks to equity.
I want Toys R Us back. I want Red Lobster
I want
back.
Joanne back.
Oh, they took Joanne fabrics from us.
They took Party City.
So,
and so, I mean, all that's meant to say, like, when I hear a story that PSG is buying a majority stake in Uscreen, I don't think, wow, that's really good for the creator economy. I think, wow, the market seems to think that the creator economy is a mature sector, and now they've come to pick it apart for scraps rather than continue to invest in its continued growth trajectory. I mean, how do you feel about this?
I think you're right on the money, but it's unfortunately, I'm not going to go be full Marxist on your podcast. That's not what you brought me here for. But living under extractive capitalism, it is the flip side of success. If what you're doing is worthwhile or like not, worthless, then someone is going to come and find a way to turn it into a machine that you can make turn the crank, right? And I use this term all the time when I'm consulting with my startups, especially the Techstars ones, is like, you know Cory Doctorow, who, by the way, featured on my latest album,
Yes, indeed.
has the theory of enshittification, right? Which is that software starts by making the users happy. Then after it has enough users, it doesn't care if it makes the users happy as long as it makes its business customers happy. Then after both of those are made happy, they will start making both miserable so they can just make shareholders happy, right? I think that a related topic I think about a lot is the turn the crank, which is like, you're good for renters who want to rent a house, you're good for hosts who want to rent an Airbnb, and once you're the only game in town, now you're free to just put the screws to them. What's a host going to do? Leave? What's a renter going to do? Look on a different platform that isn't Airbnb, that has no audience, right? Nothing to rent. And so it's like a lot of stuff is just funneling cash forever down the furnace until one day you're such a monolith that you can turn the crank all you want, right? And so I think that this moment was always coming for content creation. I don't think it's because of the content. Content is less valuable than ever. Even if it wasn't for the AI thing, which I'll go down swinging on that ship, right? But even so, a lot of people want it to be true. What matters is the storytelling, and you still need people to do that. And I don't necessarily see it as a vindication of content creators necessarily as much as eyeballs. I think it's more of a reflection that we are firmly in the attention economy. Print is dead, TV pretty dead, radio's dead. You got to be where the eyeballs are, and the eyeballs are on 15-second videos. So, when I have friends who create content, I have friends who do very well with it. It's not like every single thing is like a piece of art, but it hits the front page consistently. And so I think that that's what they're responding to.
Well, and I think what you're bringing up here, Bill, is a nice seg for talking about one of the tracks on your album, Radical Honesty, a funeral service for the good internet, which
Yes.
is the track. I love this track, and it's the one that you had Cory Doctorow do like a couple spoken word parts on, and he was phenomenal. And I think that what you just talked about is sort of exemplified in a lot of ways by this song. Your song, Funeral Service for the Good Internet, claims that the good internet, the internet that, that was at its peak, died in 2014. And what we have now is enshittified, is, more about extractive capitalism. But, for the young people, right, for the Gen Zers listening to this who don't know what Homestar Runner is, can you explain what made the internet good then and why it isn't as good now?
Well, and so this is why I used Homestar Runner as the example. Although you could have used whatever your pet internet, love of 2004 was, right? But it was allowed to exist in a time where if you liked something, sometimes you went and checked it. And then if you liked it, that's great, and you were entertained, and then you closed the tab and your interaction with it ended. Nobody followed me across the rest of the internet trying to make me buy print-on-demand Homestar Runner t-shirts that were unlicensed. I didn't fall into a Homestar Runner corner of TikTok where we all endlessly undressed every episode and argued about which characters were problematic.
Oh my God. Reddit would have ruined Homestar Runner.
I didn't watch it turn into 100 Funko Pops that will pollute landfills. I didn't see it get turned into an Amazon Prime Video $40 million budget season series. It just got to be the only thing it had to be, which was a funny, stupid 4-minute internet cartoon. And then I got on with my life. And if you think about that, how you can't interact with anything like that anymore. The minute you find something that has a little joy, someone is waiting to turn the crank. Whether it's making sure that you buy the merch or signing billion-dollar deals with Netflix or Disney or something, like you can't just have it.
I mean, even just the simple act of going to a specific website to view a specific thing. Like, nobody does that. All of the content we consume is on like 5 websites that
That's
we
actually
go to.
About a month before my song came out, although my song had been completed for like 6-7 months. Homestar put up like their first post in a year or two. And it's a new song they made called Go to a Website.
There you go.
And it's got Homestar Runner and Strong Bad singing like not the same 4 sites, but you have to type it in so you can go to the website.
Do you think like Gen Zers are listening to us right now and just like thinking we're old men yelling at clouds? Like, the young people don't realize how special this was. Like, there was actually a time when you didn't have to be on the internet, like the internet wasn't a 24/7 thing. Like, you could, show up after school to your computer, log on, talk to your friends on AIM for an hour and a half, and then you log off and then you're off the internet.
And by the way, I don't think it's like my thing was better, okay? Because like I've seen the skibbity toilets, and I'm aged out of that, but
I was about to say, you are not going to make a strident defense of the skibbity toilet.
No, but I'm still young at heart, and it's not so different than the like so stupid it's funny shit I liked when I was like 17. If I was 17 now, I'd be liking the skibbity toilets. I would. I liked Beavis and Butthead and Syphil and Ollie and everything else the first time around.
I would put badger, mushroom against skibbity toilet any day.
But what I'm saying is, like, we got to watch that and then just leave.
Yeah.
And today, it's like, if you did like skibbity toilet, there's branded tie-ins where you're buying those chips at the grocery store, and you can get on YouTube and watch hundreds of videos.
There's rabbit holes.
Never leave your thing about like skibbity toilet being mind control. And it's just like, what happened to just letting a thing be?
Yeah.
What if Dancing Baby was mind control? I could see that. You remember the Dancing Baby?
Oh yeah. I was, I would have been 16 then. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Producer Lauren, can you find Dancing Baby for us?
Yes.
Can you invite Dancing Baby onto this call?
Can we Dancing Baby is like probably a junior at Fordham right now.
Yeah, no, Dancing Baby
was
Dancing
a cartoon.
Baby,
it wasn't a real baby.
No, that baby's all grown up.
That baby. Oh my gosh! Now
Not
I want to see. This is what I'm gonna ask AI to do: is make a adult version of Dancing Baby.
The only acceptable use for AI, yes, is to age project the Dancing Baby from like the 90s meme. What was that, like on Ally McBeal, I think?
Yes, it was. That's how I remember how old I was.
Okay, well, while Lauren finds the Dancing Baby that the Gen Zers don't know what the hell we're talking about, let's talk a little bit more about the album in particular. This, I would say, like, of the works that you've done, which have always been like pretty out there, you push genre boundaries, you mix genres, you do these ambitious storytelling projects. Of those albums, I would say this one is like your most traditional, just kind of pop sounding album. But you've also said like it's your most honest album. I've heard you say, quote, that this album tells you who I really am and what I really believe. After years of doing, Kickstarter projects where, you're showing astronauts dying in space, or a whole album that chronicles what it's like to, go through manic episodes. What made you go, all right, this one, straight up pop album, and this is who I am?
Yeah, so there's a couple things going on there. First, I learned so much from We're Doomed, We're Dancing and the other Kickstarters that I just, I'm ready for everything, including trying to play the game the traditional way. So I had a little bit of an epiphany, I think, that I also think I have used it as an escape hatch or a bit of a crutch or a coping mechanism that I do weird shit, right? So when I try to make a album and I'm like, like the last one, Manic Episode, had like the half reggaeton, half death metal song on it. Like some people think it's cool, some people don't, but it's not getting the plays and it's not going viral. And I always feel like I can fall back on, it wasn't gonna. Who's like, what did I think would happen, right? And so
I wasn't trying to go viral.
exactly, right? And so I tried to see, like, if I can use everything I learned in the 60 songs and 60 genres album, where I legitimately taught myself to make 60 different kinds of music, and I could use everything I learned in the Manic Episode, which was the deliberate mishmash album where every track had to be combining two unrelated genres at once. I'm like, what if I stop that and I just take a breath to see if my like regular music where I just express myself is better? Like, can I just write a catchy song? Can I write a good song? Not a song that's interesting because it's, about the Wizard of Oz told from the viewpoint of the Lollipop Guild, and it's all played on AI-powered accordions. But
And it's
just like
Zydeco heavy metal fusion.
don't get me started on Zydeco. I came away feeling like pop is the hardest thing of all. There's no excuses. You stand alone. Everything is in play. Feel free to use whatever instrument you want. You could write any melody you want. You could be pop like Lady Gaga is pop, or you could try to sing pop like The Weeknd was pop. Michael Jackson was pop. Bad Bunny sometimes gets into pop. Pitbull is between pop and Latino hip hop. Justin Bieber is pop. There's a lot of different ways to be pop. So, with a canvas that big and without relying on anything like, how cool is it that I did XYZ? It's just like, am I a good songwriter yet? And what that tied into then was the lyrical theme of the album, which is that I didn't do any artistic exaggeration, right? That was the big other thing, is like Manic Episode is like, no, I did not crash that many cars on week-long cocaine benders or whatever. I also have not died in space. I am not dead yet. I am not ghost yet. So this album is like, if I come in with, and a lot of the songs are just humbling, right? Like, Touching the Stove is just me and my guest rapper talking about all the dumb shit we do that we know won't work, and we do it anyway. And so it's,
Is it easier for you to write songs about your own personal life and experience that you get to draw upon? Or is it easier to be able to have like the professional distance from your songwriting subject matter and write about something that's not you?
it's probably easier for me to write songs directly about things that have happened to me. What's hard is resisting artistic embellishment, right? So, but that's how some of the album came to work the way it does. Like, Part-Time Goth, which is just a very humbling look at what it's like to watch the thing that you were just age out of relevance. And now, aside from the fact that every once in a while you see like a hot goth girl on the internet, it doesn't sustain its own clubs. It doesn't sustain its own like conventions like it used to. So in Part-Time Goth, I sing, people get old, people have kids, people have back pain and mortgages. Rent out the back of a Puerto Rican dive. One night a month we keep the dark dream alive. And like, that's just literally true, because in Buffalo we have one goth night a month, and there's a Puerto Rican dive bar downtown that has like actually a really generous backroom space that we can rent. And it's funny because life is weird, so you walk in the front door and I look like this, I've got like the straps and the chains on, and like some middle-aged guy is like drinking a Presidente, and he's like, looks at me and he's like, you want to be back there. Okay, cool.
Wait, tell me that like when you do these Tell me when you do these goth nights at this Puerto Rican dive bar that the goth people have to like walk through the front door of the bar to get to the back room where the goth night is.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But
I can't think of like a deeper contrast than like probably like a socially conservative like Puerto Rican culture, seeing a bunch of people in like chains and stuff.
This one's a pretty liberal. I mean, it is still in a deep blue working district of a deep blue working city.
I mean, there's a lot of Catholic in there, man.
I have raised some eyebrows.
Man, that is commitment to the lifestyle, Bill. That's awesome. I thank you for the backstory.
Yeah,
part-time.
No, that's
cool.
The gimmick of the album is like, if I say it on that album, it actually happened to me, or I truly, truly believe it. Nothing is embellished.
Wow. Let me ask you something that I know I've asked you a different version of every time we've had you on the show, but I'm more and more shocked by this every time I ask it. How do you do this? How do you write so prolifically and put out albums so frequently in a world where like where artists are on these like 3 to 5 year album cycles because it takes artists such a long time to put these albums together? You're cranking out like 2 or 3 of these bad boys a year, if not more. You already said you have another album done after this one.
It's the game soundtrack. It comes out in about 4 weeks. My soundtrack for the game.
Oh, I'm excited for this. I know you were talking about this before, but like you are a entrepreneur. You're a fractional CTO. You work with startups. It's not like you're creating every hour of every day for your music. Like you have other work too. And like how? Like, and when I say how, like, don't just give me an answer of, well, I work really hard. No, like literally do you find enough hours in the day to create more than any other artist I know?
First, I literally do open Ableton every day.
Okay.
I will get called out by Smigs if sometimes I'll be like, I just don't feel right today. I like can't get it going. And then she'll like review the previous stage and be like, you didn't open Ableton yesterday. I'm like, oh, fine. It's like part of my mental health is I have to do it. It is my main and really only creative outlet. It is how I make sense of the tragedy and farce that our world is. And I've also put in my 10,000 hours and spent, honest to God, like the first, 20 years of my 27 years I've been making music sucking. And then I finally figured out kind of how to not suck through mass like bonks on the head with the hammer. And now I just open it and it's like, yeah, compressor, EQ, everything. All that's left is the idea.
It's the creativity as a muscle argument, right? The more that you use it, the better you get at it. The less you use it, the more the muscle atrophies.
Yeah.
And you seem to be embodying that. I like the idea of, because in terms of like actionable pieces of advice, I like the idea of telling creators, open Ableton every day.
Yeah.
Right. Even, like people talk about this with like physical fitness, right? Like even if you don't feel like going to the gym, walk into the gym, lift a barbell one time and go home, but at least walk into the gym, right? At least, by setting up that daily habit and at least doing something to move the ball forward, it's going to do wonders for whatever goal you're trying to accomplish, whatever habits you're trying to establish.
Yeah. Speaking of the gym, since I last saw you, I got out of the boot and I'm able to exercise again. So we have been back at doing personal training every morning. I feel good. Sorry to bring it up. I'm just very proud that like after a year of being physically unable to exercise, I'm like back in it now. I feel good.
Oh, proud of you. And it's only going to help your creativity. Okay. So we got about a minute left. I believe producer Lauren has the dancing baby for us.
Good.
And so what I would ask to have happen is let's get the dancing baby up on the screen while I ask you our final question.
Oh, see, I was going to play out with the dancing baby.
Well, we're going to
put it up while we're
going to play out with the dancing baby too.
Okay.
The rest of this show belongs to the dancing baby.
I'll just put him on the side there. And then
really just the peak of the internet and humanity as a whole.
I just want to say side by side here that before we make the baby dance, this is what AI thinks the baby will look like as an adult.
Oh no! Oh God! Oh God! I want to
Okay.
beat Sam Altman to death with a baseball bat.
Did you ever watch the old Tim and Eric show with the Celery Man skit?
Yes.
Paul Rudd's character is like, kind of want to see a nude Tane. Warning. Like, yeah, I feel like we got what we asked for there.
Oh God. Oh, okay. I've always been like, on the fence about AI and like, I mean, you're trying to see the good in it and being an AI optimist. Burn it all down. Oh God. Please don't put that up again. All right, Bill, do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
I will say that the one thing I took away from this last, album is doing more influencer collaborations, especially using the collaborator feature on Reels, where you're not just tagging someone in something, but you use the actual collaborator and it becomes both on your pages. So I had some people make like dances and stuff too, box in a box, and they would post it, but they would make me a collaborator. So now it's like both of ours. It's on my page and their page, which was kind of funny because quick story before we part ways. The one that did the best was this very handsome man in Barcelona, this big daddy vibes. He was an LGBTQ influencer who made a video like, I heard the new Down Upright queerness jam and felt compelled to put on a cunty reel. And so he made this dress for himself out of sardine tins. And that was like, and he did this stone-faced, like daddy energy, like walk down the boardwalk in a dress made of sardine tins while Box in a Box plays in the background. Is very, sexy. But because it's
Undeniably
a collaborator reel, it was presented to me as Instagram as though it was my own reel and not someone else's. So it didn't just say like so-and-so commented on a post you were tagged in. It would say like, whatever username commented on your reel. Please come spank me. Whatever username commented on your reel. Squirt emoji, squirt emoji, squirt emoji, sweat emoji, panting emoji. And I was getting, that was the best one of them. And it got probably like 100,000 views, couple thousand comments, and they were just all people very clearly thirsting after the handsome fashion guy. But my Instagram feed was like, just like, sweat, come get me. Oh my God, I'm dying. I need you to dom me. Like, but it's all like on your reel, replied to you. I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
it's not me.
I did nothing.
No,
I did nothing.
I take back everything I said. You know what? This is peak internet.
Yeah.
Cory Doctorow is wrong. It's never been better. Our guest has been Bill Down Upright Bolden. The album Radical Honesty. It is amazing. It's available now. Check it out. Find out more about our guest's work by visiting downupright.bluesky.social. Our thanks to Bill Bolden. Our thanks to producer Lauren. And my thanks to all of you for checking out Break the Business. Mwah! It's good to be back. And we'll see you next week.